Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we're just going to be giving some first thoughts on the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter. Before we jump into that, if you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. This is it. This is the fight that we've been waiting for. This is the one we've been waiting for so long. We are finally going to see Terence Crawford get in there against world-class competition. Finally going to get to see it. Man, we've been talking about Terence Crawford and the talent level that he has for so long. We've watched him go out there and dominate opponents. We've been impressed with his hand speed, the way he works the angles, the unorthodox stance, but also the unorthodox approach to things. His fight IQ, just everything that he brings to the table. The footwork, man, it's all so good. But the knock against him always has been the same. The knock against him has always been that strength of schedule. You couldn't deny the fact that no matter what else you're looking at, when you look at the people that he's putting these incredibly impressive performances in against, it's not the best in the world. And we always wondered, when are we going to see it? When are we going to see him in there against the best? What's going on with the promoter? How long have we hated the business side of boxing? Man, when it comes to not getting the best fighters in the world fighting each other. Man, it sucks to be a fan of this sport. For so long in the business side of boxing, you don't see the best fight the best. At least when they're not in their prime. How many times have we seen that? We don't see them fight when they're in their prime, but we see these guys fight later on. I don't know. Incredibly disappointing. But now we get to see Terence Crawford in his prime fight Shawn Porter in his prime. And when you're stepping in there against Shawn Porter, I swear, man, sometimes I think this guy doesn't get enough credit still. Think about this on his resume. Ugas, Broner, Thurman, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia. And those are big names. They're not all wins, but he's been in there against all of those guys. Huge names. And let me just say this. In his last fight against Errol Spence, man, I did not expect him to look as good as he did. I did not expect him to go out there and put on that type of a performance. I'm a big Errol Spence fan. I think Errol Spence was a step above what Shawn Porter was going to show up. And I don't think that Errol Spence didn't show up. I don't think that Errol Spence just kind of dogged it that night, phoned it in. I don't think the reason that Shawn Porter looked so good was because Errol Spence didn't bring it to the table, man. He had to bring his A game or he was done. Shawn Porter just showed up. He continues to get better and he continues to be impressive. I remember when I first started watching him, I thought, yeah, he's tough. He's got some fast hands. He does some things, but he's a little bit too rough and tumble. When he gets in there against the elite of the division, they're going to be able to pick him apart. A little bit too aggressive, comes in with his head sometimes, doesn't quite understand the spacing and the distance that he needs. He's able to beat guys up. He's strong, but as he gets to the very top, not going to work out well for him. Now, I did think he was going to beat Kell Brook. But I'll tell you, I was watching that fight early in the first round. I saw Kell Brook throw a counter jab to stop the pressure that Shawn Porter was bringing. So impressive, stopped him dead in his tracks. And I knew right then that it was going to be problematic for the rest of the fight for Shawn Porter. He came in as a big favorite, ended up losing that fight. But he grew from it, man. He grew from that fight and subsequent ones. He continues to learn. He continues to be impressive. You know, Adrian Broner tried cracking a joke on him, telling him he was a football player, not really a boxer. How'd that one work out? Shawn Porter, man, he continues to be impressive. Really like his commentary, too. By the way, little side note, I like his commentary. You can tell he understands the fight game. He's got a high fight IQ. So when I hear about this fight getting booked against Terence Crawford, I know for a fact, 1,000%, Terence Crawford is going to have to show up. He's going to have to train. He's going to have to bring his A game. I'm not saying Shawn Porter's going to win. I'm not saying Terence Crawford is going to win. That's not what the fight's about. I'm just kind of trying to play it out. You know, Terence Crawford's going to come out there. He's going to fight orthodox. He's going to fight as a southpaw. He's got the reach. He understands angles. He can work behind a jab on either side. He can step back and try and throw counters. But I don't think he likes fighting inside. I don't think he likes all that pressure. Can he fight off the back foot? Sure, but that's not what he really prefers to do in the sense of a guy just really pressing you, really trying to be in your face. He doesn't want to fight off your back foot in the way that we saw Juan Manuel Marquez fight off his back foot. That's not the type of counterpuncher that Terence Crawford wants to be. He wants to go in there and dictate the pace and the action much more than that. Fight off his back foot when he wants to, come forward when he wants to. He wants to work the small circles and get angles on people. Wants to pull back, come over the top with a lot of his shots. How he gets over the jab. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull all those things off against Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter's gotten much better with his pressure. He doesn't smother his work now, but he still likes to get inside. It's not going to be an easy day at the office when you fight Shawn Porter. It's not going to be pretty. Even when you win, it's not going to look good. Even when you win, you're not going to go out there with some incredibly impressive performance. Shawn Porter, he just makes it the type of fight where it's grinding and it's tough, and he just takes you to those spots. And if you're not willing to tough it out, man, you're going to get steamrolled because he comes in with an intensity level that you just absolutely have to match or you're already done. Oh, I'm so happy that this fight got booked. I think it's going to bring the best out in both men. I think Shawn Porter always shows up, always prepared, always ready. I think Terence Crawford is tired of hearing the criticism. I mean, he's incredibly talented, and I think he's tired of hearing the criticism. It's not his fault that the business end of boxing has kept him out of some of these biggest fights. So I think he wants to show up. Man, I think he wants to put on such an incredibly impressive performance. Will he get it done? I don't know. I do not know. I'm going to sit down, analyze the tape as we get a little bit closer, break it down, give you some of the technical analysis on how I think that's going to happen. But going into it, I see these intriguing style matchups. Going into it, I see how each man is going to try and inflict and enforce his will on the other one. And I'm incredibly excited to see how this one turns out.